What's poppin', y'all? It's your girl Mickay. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so happy to see your face. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that bell button so that way you get notified every single time I upload a video. Alright, y'all, so today is a story time video. I honestly don't do these so often, and so I was like, let me give my subscribers, my family, some tea, and probably some tea that y'all don't even know about me. So I feel like this will be a pretty exciting video. As you can see by the title of this video, I was in a long distance relationship, and obviously since I am no longer in a long distance relationship, it did not work out. And so in this video, I'm basically just gonna like chit chat about why it didn't work out and like how I got into it, and just like give you a timeline of everything. So let's get right into it. So my long distance relationship lasted for like literally almost a year. Like, we had started dating in February of 2019, and then we broke up at the end of January 2020, so literally almost a year. And basically, obviously, where did I go that like would be a long distance relationship? I went to another country, and while I was there studying abroad, I met this guy, and okay, let's like give you some background. So we met at like I would say like not a club, but more like a lounge or whatever. And he was sweet. We had like quick interaction or whatever. We exchanged numbers, and he asked me out on a date, and I was like, sure. I was in a new country. I wanted to meet a lot of people who were actually like from there, just to like get immersed into the culture or whatever. And so I was like, you know what, sure, he's cute, like, you know, whatever. So we ended up going on a date, and we kind of like hit it off. Like, it was actually pretty interesting how much we hit it off. So then we went on another date not even a few days later, but maybe like 2 days later, and I was like, what's happening? Because I already started to like him, which was like, so I don't know. I think we were kind of just like really feeling each other. But anyway, the date went well. The second date, the first date, everything went well. So then we kind of like kept dating, and he was a really nice guy. And so then I'm gonna fast forward and basically explain why it didn't necessarily work out. So we both had extremely hectic schedules. He had a very like time consuming career, and then I was in school. Well, I am in school, yada yada, all that stuff, and then all the life stuff that just comes with everything. So I moved back to America, obviously, from studying abroad. Before I came back, we had made the decision to like keep it going. We were very naive, and I think we were just like so into each other that we were just like, this is gonna work, this is gonna be fine, like everything's gonna be great and dandy, whatever. It was very like, we were just looking at the best possible case, like scenario, whatever. We were just looking at the best thing that could possibly happen, which would be to stay together, even though it was super long distance. And so I was like, yeah, of course. Like, I was really, really, really into this guy, and I don't know, I just was like I felt so comfortable, and everything just happened so fast, but like nothing felt like super rushed or like weird or anything, and it really felt natural. So I was just like, let me give this a try. And before this, I hadn't been in a long distance relationship like at all. So this was like the first time, but I was like, you know what? I love him. I'm gonna just try this, whatever. So I ended up coming back to school, and mind you, the weeks leading up to me moving back to America, I was like so sad, and he was just trying to keep me, you know, positive. And I think that's why we kind of worked out, is because we're very in tune with the fact that like we need to look on the bright side of things. He kept me positive about the fact, you know, this is gonna work out, this is gonna be fine, like we'll see each other. We were planning when we were gonna see each other next, and just like kind of planning out like, okay, we'll visit each other every so and so months to make sure that like whatever, and then eventually, possibly, maybe we would live together. I don't know, but yeah, so basically those conversations were keeping me in high spirits. But then I moved back to America, and it was summer of 2019, and like at first I was super sad, and then he was like, Michaela, if you're gonna be sad all the time, like the space, like we weren't gonna see each other for like 6 months. So that's a really long time to be sad. So I had to like kind of cheer myself up, and he helped me with that, which I was really grateful for. And he kind of kept me like, okay, it's gonna work, this is gonna be fine. But the communication, I will say, just is where we lacked. I feel like when I got frustrated for certain things, like I just felt like we weren't talking as much, or like things were going downhill and none of us were addressing it, I wouldn't say anything. Once he found out that like I was feeling some type of way and I hadn't said anything for an X amount of time, he's like, you have to tell me like when you feel these things. And I was like, okay. So, but communication definitely is where I feel like we really had our downfall. And then if you think about it, we weren't gonna see each other for 6 months, but we had only known each other for 4 months. And so we were apart longer than we were together. And honestly, I think we were both kind of like so in the moment that like when we had made the decision to stay together, despite the fact that we live so far from each other, and there's a huge not a huge time difference, but there was a 4 to 5 hour time difference depending on like daylight savings or whatever, we just were so into the fact that like we were into each other, and we were like, you know what, it's gonna work. So because of that, I feel like we were very naive, and we didn't understand the actual like hurdles and what it took to keep the relationship strong while we were like thousands of miles away from each other. And so I was in school, and he has a very time-consuming job, and so like the days would just go by, like, and sometimes I'd be like, oh my god, we haven't talked, or like he would like try to call me and I'd be in class, so I would try to call him and he's in like a surgery or something, or whatever the case may be. And so that just kept going, and I'm just like, okay. And then a lot of things in life happened. I made a video about the passing of my great-grandmother, and a lot of just other things going on with school and personal life had happened that kind of like consumed my mind. And then I realized like we really haven't been talking, because with my great-grandmother's passing, I was traveling back and forth from home. I was just really like not okay, and I didn't want to like put that on him. And he tried to keep me up, but I don't know. I think there was just so much of my life consuming me that I just was like, I can't, or I don't want to put this on someone else. So then at that point, it was like October or November. And so at that point, it was only like 1 or 2 months before I saw him again, like before I went back to visit, and we were going to be together. And so I was like, okay, I can get through this. But even, so then I think, I'm really trying to think. This is very off script, y'all, so I do apologize for the run-ons. But I think I did express to him that like we needed to work on communication. And I think now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I really should have been working on communication myself, but I made it more of like an us thing, so that way like we can support each other with like contacting and like just communicating our feelings and trying to get through like the hurdles together instead of like on our own. So we addressed and we acknowledged the fact that we needed to communicate better. So then let's like fast forward. So when I actually went back to visit him, for a second, it was like back to where we were when I had first visited abroad. Like it was just like this, I don't know, like this moment of like, this is it. Like this is why we waited so long. You know, this is why we like stayed together. This is why, like, because of the kind of feelings that we felt when we were actually together. Like I just have not, I think what drove me to like say yes to the fact that like let's do long distance is because I just hadn't felt like that with anyone ever in my life, like ever. So I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna give up this great feeling because of Miles. And I was like, being still very naive. But anyways, so I went to go visit him and we hung out. We tried to do some bonding activities. But I think the fact that like I was coming and going really got to me. And also like just, I don't know. I always like do this thing where I get sad and because I'm going to leave, but it's like I've signed up for this. But I don't know, there's something about it where I just wish that like, you know, you just wish that you were actually together in the same space. And I think that also was a huge problem where it was like, we just wish that we lived on the same like even like just the same state, same city, whatever it may be. Like, we just wish that we lived in the same place, like proximity. And that in itself, like wishing that you could physically be closer to each other, but you literally can't, and you can't change that circumstance right now because I'm in school and he has a career, like a literal career, that he can't just up and leave. So that just was not really healthy, I guess you could say, because then we're just like wishing for things that obviously cannot come true in that current moment. And so when I was there visiting him, we went through our talks again, because we always have these talks about like the future and just like kind of planning and everything. And we tend to plan these very optimistic things, like in so and so amount of years I'll be done with school, we can make a move, or he can make a move, or I can make a move, or this sacrifice, or whatever to be together. And I think to a certain point it was just like, how many times or how much can one sacrifice, like, for a relationship that you don't necessarily know, because you can't tell the future, that you don't necessarily know will work out for the rest of your life, you know? And I feel like we were just very naive, very much in love, that we kind of just kept it, like, we just kept saying it's gonna work out, it's gonna work out, it's gonna work out, and we weren't addressing the reality of things. We weren't addressing the distance, the time difference, like the emotional toll that it would take on the both of us, the type of communication you have to do every single day, and the amount of hours that you have to put in to talk to somebody. And it was difficult. Like, he would call me at like 2 a.m. my time, when it'd be like 6 a.m. his time, and he's getting ready to start his day, and I'm like half asleep, and he'd feel so bad that at a certain point he had to stop doing that. And I realized it, and I'm like, why don't you, you know, once we got to that point where it was like, he was like, I just don't know when to call because I have a hectic schedule, and so did he, and then the time difference, I was just like, well, you were calling me at 2 a.m. and I would answer. It was so interesting because my phone is always on Do Not Disturb, but for whatever reason, whenever he specifically called, my phone rang. It was actually very interesting. But anyways, yeah, I was like, why don't you call at, you know, you called me in the middle of the night and I would always answer, so what is the difference? And he's just kind of like, I cannot do that all the time because you're a student. Like, you have to wake up in 4 hours. I'm breaking your sleep all the time. Like, that's not okay. And I was like, okay, valid. I feel like these are the things that we just did not think about when we had first decided to be in a long distance relationship. And so then, I think it was January, like it was late January, I was leaving to come back to America again. And we were like, I think we both at that, like for me visiting him for like 3 weeks, I think we both realized and mutually agreed that this was really, really difficult. And given the circumstances, the amount of years that we would have to like just keep holding off for, like, I won't be done with school for another like 3 years, like completely done with all my degrees that I want to get and everything. Like, I will not be done for 3 years, and so I'm not gonna up and leave where I am for a relationship because I had this goal. I have my, you know, I had my career goals in mind before this person ever entered my life, and so I can't stop that for that person, if you get what I'm saying. So we kind of both mutually agreed and kind of like understood, this is difficult, this is really hard, and we tried. We truly did try, because if we didn't try, we would have broken up before I even had the chance to go visit again, or we would have broken up like when I was leaving the first time, you know, in 2019. But we didn't. We really truly tried. And don't get me wrong, y'all, when we broke up, I was sad. SAD, like sad. But because it was a mutual agreement, and because like when you just really, when you love someone, when you like really care about somebody, like it's like I don't know how to explain it. Like, it wasn't, there was no evil behind the breakup. There was no, like, there was none of that. It was all love. It was all good vibes, like good energy. Like, this is the best for the both of us. And kind of like, you never know where life will take you. So Because I never knew life would take me to this long distance relationship. Let me just tell you that right now. Like, not at all. Not at all. But, you know, everything works out for the best. And so now I've just accepted it, and it's been it was a beautiful experience. And yeah, the things people do for love, man. And I know I'm a big, like, I'm so emotional and I love love. But yeah, so I definitely was all in, but it just so happened that given the circumstances, given so many other factors, like just all the factors that I've talked about in this video, like, we just agreed, like, that being friends and just not, you know, trying to make the relationship work, making the relationship work, like, that was just not it. But I think the communication, the time difference, the schedules, like, all of those things just made it that so difficult that we were just like, you know what, we're gonna stop here, we're going to break up. And at that time, this was at the end of January of 2020, so maybe this is like 3.5 months ago. At that time, I was just like, dang, like, we spent all that time, we spent the last year invested in each other, like completely invested in each other. But at the same time, I'm so grateful for the experience, simply because, like, I can say I've been through a long distance relationship and I understand the downfalls and the upsides. Like, I get, like, you know, I get the infatuation with, like, you have this person and you don't want to just, like, give in. You don't want to give up just because of distance or of the time difference, so you try. Like, I get it now. Like, I truly get why people get into long distance relationships. Despite it being so difficult, like, you're just with this person who makes you feel great, so why would you give up before trying? You know, like, I get that now. And so it was an amazing experience. It allowed me to travel, to see so many things. It allowed me to get to know myself more, understand, like, what I want in a relationship, what I need in relationships. And it also taught me, like, how I need to be to my partner, like, whoever it is. Like, it just taught me a lot. And so, and also, love is something crazy. It'll make you do really crazy things. And I know my friends were probably like, Michaela, like, you guys are so far apart and you want to be in a long distance relationship and you want to try. And I was like, yes, I will. And I did try. And although it didn't work out, like, at least I tried and I saw it to the end. I say all this to say, and I give this story time to say, if you are currently in a long distance relationship, if you are considering a long distance relationship, there takes a lot of sacrifice, hard work, communication, just a lot of consideration that you probably don't put into a relationship if you are with that person all the time, or if you are in the same, like, city or state as that person. Like, it just takes a lot more work, I will say, than your normal, average, you know, everyday relationship. But it was an experience that I do not regret, and it was honestly a beautiful one. It's a love story that, like, I'll be able to tell and whatever. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening to my story time. And if you're currently in a long distance relationship and it is working out for you, props to you, because you are working so hard to keep that relationship, and I know it. Like, you probably are working so hard. And when I say long distance, I don't mean state to state. No, this was long distance. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for hearing my rant. This is very unscripted. I was just like, you know what? Let me just chit chat with my peeps today. But I appreciate y'all so much for tuning in and sticking around. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is aka Mickay. I love y'all so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.